So on the 31st of July 2020, I made a video called Why Mr Beast Content is Gross and Exploitative. Now, you guys might have seen that video. It's quite an old one at this point. And why I'm bringing it up is to point out that I've been criticizing Mr Beast for a lot longer than most people. And I do joke about it, but I basically say that I'm the original Mr. Beast hater. I'm the president of the I Hate Mr. Beast Club because a lot of people started to hate him after the Squid Game stuff. I feel like anyway, because there's a lot of videos on it. But I have always found his content really, really gross, really exploitative. And I'm going to talk about all those issues today because he's actually finally got quite a massive backlash. And I think it's shown his true colors for the first time because I've always said, based on his trajectory on YouTube, I don't genuinely believe Mr. Beast often does things just because he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's nice in some ways, but at the same time, it feels very obvious to me and to a lot of people that he's building his brand and he's building his massive following. He's now the biggest YouTuber on the entire platform by doing supposed good things. And now some of these things are very good, undisputable. Some of these things are also a bit weird. So I wanted to talk about this in relation to the backlash because, in my opinion, he said something I've believed for a long time. He does a lot of this because he wants to be liked. It's no wonder his idol is Elon Musk, and he's showing actually some similarities to Elon Musk because he's mad that he's getting criticism, despite the fact that most people love him, despite the fact he's the biggest YouTuber in the world, despite the fact he's insanely rich. And if you've ever criticized Mr. Beast, you've had the privilege of being swarmed by so many of his followers telling you you're a terrible person for even criticizing him. But just because some people don't like him, just because especially some leftist people don't like him, he's crying about it on Twitter. And who does that remind you of? It reminds you of Elon Musk, who did a massive right-wing turn once left-wing people started being more vocal against him. And even on my YouTube channel, like, I was criticizing Elon Musk like years ago. Jordan Peterson I was criticizing back in 2018 when it was pretty unpopular to do so. Like, I remember criticizing Musk, Peterson, and Mr. Beast when I was a smaller channel. Literally all my comments would be hate. But I think something is now changing because on that video I showed you at the start, recently, over the last couple months, every single comment I've been getting has been positive. Where in the past, literally, it was one of those videos that kept getting views because people kept hating on it. Like, literally, for years and years, I would get comments from, like, children telling me how jealous I was of Mr. Beast. And even in December, I predicted that Mr. Beast would have some sort of downfall in 2023. I just didn't think it would be so soon. So what I want to do with this video is really get into the backlash to the video he made, talk about the video a bit, because I honestly don't even think it's like even close to one of the worst things he's made. So that's why I do find it funny. It's kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm not complaining because I'm glad people are realizing how problematic this guy's content is. At the same time, I feel it's one of the more like harmless videos he's made compared to some of the other insanely gross ones. And also what I wanted to do is because a lot of people often say like, what has Mr. Beast done that is bad? And I've made quite a lot of videos documenting that, but at the same time, I think what I should do is make a whole video documenting that, maybe in like some sort of chronological order. So I'm going to record that tomorrow, and this video is primarily going to be focused on the backlash he got, his response to it, and people like swarming the comments of people like me who would dare criticize Mr. Beast. So all of that coming up for you today. So I've been really ill with food poisoning, and then my computer just wouldn't work for like 3 hours while I was about to record. That's why it looks a bit different in my apartment, because I had to change room because it's so late when I'm recording this. But yeah, you know all the good stuff. Like, comment, check out all my social medias, check out the Patreon, all that good stuff. And now let's get into the video. So basically, Mr. Beast's newest video was something called 1,000 Blind People See for the First Time. And it's basically Mr. Beast teaming up with some charity to help people get a surgery, which is actually fairly common in countries of universal healthcare. People have been talking about how much Cuba has cured blindness through its socialized medicine program. But obviously in the United States, this treatment is very expensive, pricing people out of curing their partial blindness. And also in other countries I was reading, it's a very, very cheap and routine procedure. So I've watched a lot of Mr. Beast videos and I've reviewed a lot of them on my channel. And like I said, I don't think this one is the worst, but I do find this thumbnail very weird. So look at the thumbnail, look at this boy. This boy is not in the video. And those tears are also edited in. Like, do you guys not think that's a bit weird? Like, you have so many examples in the video of people who are very, very grateful for Mr. Beast like curing their eyesight, but he's just got some random kid. Like, I don't know if this guy was cut out of the video, but he could just be like an actor, or this could be some sort of stock image. So I do find that like very weird and manipulative. So I just want to show you a couple clips of the video. I don't want to talk about it too much. Basically, the premise is he is paying for this surgery, and he shows you him paying for it, and he shows you the people there and what a nice guy he is. He also surprises some of them with like a Tesla car and like $10,000 in cash. Like, what a nice guy. So I'm just going to show you a couple clips, and then we're going to talk about it.
In this video, we're curing 1,000 people's blindness. It's gonna be crazy. 200 million people see the world like this, but I just made it one less.
Oh.
Can't see, but we have all the technology to fix it.
Yep, half of all the blindness in the world is people who need a 10-minute surgery.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Our next patient is Charlie.
You're not able to read any of this text on the TV?
No, it's an E or something, I think.
He won't know he won 10 grand until after his surgery. I can't wait to see his reaction. Charlie sees everything like this, and it's made him and his family's life extremely difficult.
I was a cashier. My eyes was getting so bad I couldn't see how much the money to give back. I just want to get my vision back so I can go back to work.
And for Charlie, if the surgery goes well, he can go back to work. What's it like?
Oh, wow.
All right, let's see if he can read it now. What does this say?
You just won $10,000.
Here you go.
Oh my gosh.
So not only are we helping people here in America, but we're also going to other places around the world.
Because unfortunately, nearly half the population with curable blindness doesn't have access to this surgery. So I wanted to provide this to as many people as possible.
Como le digo, me siento nueva. I see everything.
Thank you, Mr. Beast. Thank you.
So if you really care about that video, go watch the whole thing for yourself. Now, my initial reaction upon actually watching it was, you know, it's just like typical Mr. Beast. Like, I have seen a lot worse from him. And I guess a lot of people's immediate reaction is kind of like, it sucks that a YouTuber has to do this because these people cannot get their eyesight cured on like the system or for one reason or another. And I guess like a lot of Mr. Beast videos, it's very much centered on him and his charity rather than the bigger issue. Like, why is this an issue? Why do so many people have these eye problems? Why can so many people not get them fixed? And I can understand to some degree Mr. Beast doesn't want to get like super political, but it feels like a pretty privileged position to throw around so much money to these issues while not actually discussing with people how they can actually fix them. Now, to be fair, I'm going to be fair in this video, he does put a link to the charity which is helping with all this stuff. It says in the description right next to advertising for his food. If you'd like to support more of his sight restoring work, visit this website, and then it's called See Together in Sight. Join us in our mission to end preventable blindness, make a difference to Mr. Beast by donating $5 a month and sharing the cause with others. You will become part of a movement that can end preventable blindness. We know that $5 might not seem like enough to change the world, but with thousands of members joined together in a single mission, we can create a visibly brighter future. So a lot of people like myself just don't like Mr. Beast content. It feels very much like it's geared towards children and young people who find, you know, this kind of like Superman figure saving people like very appealing. And they think when you do something like this, you're amazing. But at the end of the day, Mr. Beast is a very wealthy person. Mr. Beast actually makes a lot of videos that have nothing to do with charity. He does videos that go viral and are ridiculous to make this guy a lot of money. And I thought we established like years ago that if you film yourself giving money to homeless people and upload it on social media, you're going to distort your intentions with that, right? Because if you just do a good deed, you've done a good deed because you want to be a good person. If you do a good deed to film it, put it on social media, build your reputation, fame, and maybe even make a lot of money, then that adds to a lot of problems. We're going to discuss this a bit later. But in the context of that one video, it's pretty amazing that so many people started turning on Mr. Beast, but I feel like this sentiment towards him has been rising for a while. So I think this is the tweet that kind of set off the chain reaction. So Low Overruled wrote, "There is something so demonic about this, and I can't even articulate what it is." And it got 86,000 likes and 3,000 retweets and 4,000 quote tweets. And he responded, "Some people think I'm mad at him, don't care about him at all, in fact, think he's a fascinating, bizarre person. I don't know what to tell you if a single rich guy paid for life-changing surgery for us and it's easy to do this, doesn't set off any kind of alarm in your head." Other people saying, Right at the start of the video, they say something about how 50% of blindness is curable, then to see them just dancing around like it's a talk show charity segment, infused with the vibe of modern content tailored to destroy our attention spans, feels viscerally wrong. Random bird saying, because no element of it would happen in a healthy society, people would simply get surgery when they needed it, neither misfortune nor acts of kindness would be paraded for views, you wouldn't need to be mega rich to do something good. Hassan, who hasn't really criticized Mr Beast significantly, he made a video. He just saying basically it's messed up that people have to rely on some YouTuber potentially giving them this surgery because the system fails them so bad.
You watch the video, you go, oh, how cute and how nice. I watched the video and I'm filled with rage.
What's wrong with you?
That we shut off access to a 10-minute procedure because we paywalled it and decided that like some people just simply can't get it. It is so insanely frustrating that it like it's up to like one YouTube guy to like decide to make content out of it that like the people who are too poor can't just see. That's insane.
And then a lot of people just memeing him saying, imagine being blind and then the first thing you see after your life-changing surgery is this. And then people saying, hey kids, if you like Mr. Beast, you'll love Fidel Castro. He restored the eyesight of 4 million people around the world. Because a lot of people have tunnel vision, they really couldn't see why they would criticize Mr. Beast's content in the first place. Not even as a criticism of Mr. Beast the person, just the content, because he's exploiting poverty and poor situations for viral content and viral views. It's a bit of a sick society where something that is so basic in many countries can be used for viral YouTube content by the biggest YouTuber on earth to grow his brand, to grow his personal fame, to sanitize his reputation even, because everyone thinks he's an amazing guy. But generally, I'm showing you some of the backlash against him. Most people are being so positive about this. If you look at the YouTube comments of Mr. Beast's video right there, nearly every single one is saying he's an amazing guy. And that is pretty much the case on every single video he makes, right? He has so many fans who want to be just like him. He has so many fans that absolutely love his videos. I think probably a lot of them are a lot younger because they seem quite naive. Then you also have a lot of Elon Musk simps who came after me on Twitter today who also love him and promote him all the time. But what is so funny is that his response to the mild criticism from a very small minority of people really got him hurt. So he tweeted this: I don't understand why curable blindness is a thing. Why don't governments step in and help? Even if you're thinking purely from a financial standpoint, it's hard to see they don't return on investment on taxes from people being able to work again. Yeah, Mr. Beast, that's kind of interesting you're saying that. Why didn't you say it in the video? Why did it take a whole backlash against you to actually come out and say something about why don't governments do something? Because you know what would have made the point about his video better? He could have said something like, yeah, this is such a massive issue. Why don't our government, the US government, step in and do something? Why don't they support, I don't know, Medicare for all? It's all well and good to make this video, but then you're not actually pointing out the real issue at hand, and you're only saying something once Twitter leftists have a little backlash against you, showing how sensitive he is. But then this tweet is pretty unhinged. He then writes, would you vote for me if I ran for president? Yes, 70%, and no, 30%. Like, he wasn't joking there. He was serious. And someone told him in the comments, like, you're not old enough. And he didn't seem to realize you have to be like 36 to run for president. But again, absolutely amazing. Gets a tiny little bit of criticism. And now he's asking people if he should run for president. Like, this guy reminds me so much of Elon Musk. And then my buddy Lance at the Surfs wrote something. People honestly praising Mr. Beast yet again. This guy does poverty tourism for cash, no lies told. If he pays a person's medical bills, lottery style, without informing anyone with his platform that it's messed up, he needs to do that, that's just profiting off his ability to do so. Totally agree with Lance there. But Mr. Beast, who rarely tweets anyway and rarely replies to people, wrote, it did raise awareness and got tons of people talking. Also, what profits? The average Mr. Beast video lost $1.5 million last year. I mean, Mr. Beast, it didn't get people talking because you started a conversation about the US healthcare system. It got people talking because you literally just ignored that issue to make this viral content. And it's all well and good helping these people. In a vacuum, it's all well and good. But when you have a chance to raise awareness of why so many people have terrible conditions like this guy also runs a food bank. And let me tell you, I'm going to cover it tomorrow. The videos on his food bank are pretty much the same as this video, right? He just gives people food, shows you their reaction, then he might give them some money or an iPad as well. Doesn't talk about why so many people go hungry, doesn't talk about the rates of poverty in the US, which causes hunger and causes necessity for food banks. And I guess the criticism is, while he is doing good things, he could do more to raise awareness, because at the end of the day, there aren't millions and millions of Mr. Beasts who can do this all the time. He's one person. If you want actual change, you have to go, sadly, through governments, through voting for the right people, even in a capitalist democracy. Because even if you think someone like Mr. Beast is the answer, someone like him should go out of their way to do charities, feed people, restore people's sight, there's not enough of people like him doing this. As rich people doing charity work is never going to be the answer to systemic issues like poverty, poor healthcare, or hunger. Here's the tweet which basically confirmed my views on him over the last couple of years. Twitter: rich people should help others with their money. I don't remember ever saying that. Me: okay, I'll use my money to help people, and I promise to give away all the money before I die, every single penny. Twitter: Mr. Beast bad. So if you're doing charity work and you firmly believe in the cause of the charity work of what you're doing, why do you care what a minority on Twitter think of you? For example, I have a lot of political beliefs. I have a lot of like left-wing beliefs that are very unpopular. If I went and worked in, I don't know, Gaza for a Palestinian aid charity, or if I was the size of Mr. Beast with the money Mr. Beast, and I put loads of money into aid workers helping Palestinian people, right? A lot of people would absolutely hate me. Far more people would criticize and hate me than the people criticizing Mr. Beast. I wouldn't care about that, because I believe in the cause. I'm not doing it for any other reason but the fact I believe in the cause, right? So if loads and loads of people, if the majority of people hated me for it, I wouldn't care. Majority of people love Mr. Beast for this, and he's still mad about this. So doesn't that tell you so much about his intentions? Yes, he could genuinely, in some way, want to help people. Does he do it for clout and fame? Yes, he also does that. Now, you guys have to remember, Mr. Beast didn't start his channel as a charity channel. He never said he did this to become the biggest charity on YouTube. He started his channel by trying to game the algorithm by listening to like Everyday Bro by Jake Paul, like, was it like 1,000 times in a row or something like that? You're telling me a guy who will do stuff like that for YouTube clout and fame isn't above using charity work to also promote his image and sanitize his reputation? Of course he will. That's what rich people do all the time. He is no different in my mind to loads and loads of billionaire and millionaires who do lots of good charity work and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there's always some sort of ulterior motive. Both things can be true. Mr. Beast likes helping people. Mr. Beast likes the reputation he gets from helping people, and Mr. Beast also exploits poverty for content. So speaking of Mr. Beast Simps and his legion of fans, I got insane hate for this Twitter thread, basically summing up what I've just said to you. So get a load of this. I screenshotted the tweet and I said, I honestly think this tweet puts to bed the notion that Mr. Beast does good because he's a nice guy, when in reality, it's always about growing his brand and being liked. If I had millions to spend on good causes of my choice, I don't think I'd give a single shit about what a tiny group of people online think of me. And then obviously getting like incel YouTube all quote tweeting me, getting the quartering, obviously directing a lot of his followers to me. Some guy called Bow Blacks and Orgy RFC. The thread is psychotic. Even if you disagree with what I said there, do you think it's psychotic to criticize someone's fragile ego after they got like a tiny bit of backlash for the first time? I don't know who this guy is, but seemingly like some sort of streamer. I also got Elon Musk's like biggest simp, founder of Dogecoin or something, who wrote to me, I don't know you, but I'm 100% sure you've never done a single useful thing for anyone in your entire existence, right? He wrote that to me, and then I called him an Elon Musk simp, and then he blocked me and all my followers. This guy has 2 million followers, and I only have 9,000. So honestly, while lying in bed with food poisoning, I was just getting loads and loads of hate from people, and most of it wasn't substantial, basically saying, well, what have you done? The Beast is the better person than you. The only people I can imagine who actually got really mad at my tweets must be right-wingers or some enlightened centrists and children, because I can't imagine getting so mad at criticism of a random YouTuber. And I'm also pretty sure a lot of these people don't actually watch Mr. Beast content, because if they did, they'd know about a lot of the more like shadier stuff to do with him. But there's so much to talk about Mr. Beast. I want to save some for tomorrow, but I actually wrote a Twitter thread earlier today, and I think it summarizes a lot of my argument to do with him nicely. So I just want to read that and then just bounce off it to like wrap up the video. I think it's amazing people don't even want to understand criticisms of Mr. Beast. Yes, in a complete vacuum, Mr. Beast helps a lot of people. those people are probably grateful for it. Years ago, I thought most people agreed giving money to homeless people and filming it was in poor taste, right? Like you're exploiting their situation to make yourself look better to help yourself. Otherwise, why film it? Most of us don't film ourselves doing good deeds. So there's a dual motive there. Even if there is a genuine desire to do good, there is a desire to be seen doing good too, to build, at the very least, reputation, clout, fame, and also money. And the counter argument I get is he makes money to do good things, which I'd accept more if we knew more about his tax situation. He says his videos lose money. How is he sustaining these insanely expensive uploads? Sponsors don't pay that much. The reality is that he's probably not paying a significant amount of tax as just straight up tax. His main company is an LLC, he has a non-profit, which is an easy way to claim business expenses and get tax write-offs. This dude took COVID relief loans while splashing 600k on fireworks for one video. Sorry if I don't think he's legit when it comes to his finances. In reality, he's probably paying a lot in tax, but not as a percentage of income. And that's before we talk about him and Logan Paul bragging about collabing with Gary Vee on a crypto pump and dump. Because as we all know, people who don't care about money at all get involved with stuff like this. And you guys remember that clip. I pretty much show it every opportunity I get. It's Mr. Beast and Logan Paul laughing about basically doing something that I'm pretty sure is very illegal if it was the stock market, but because crypto is pretty unregulated, they got away with it and felt they could brag about it on a podcast.
Out of nowhere, just calls me and he's like, yo, I got like 30 people to call, hop in. I'm like, I don't care. He's like, it'll be the best decision of your life. Just get in. I was like, okay. Yeah. So there's like all these like very successful people in this call. And Gary's just like, here's what you're going to do, and you're going to do it right now. You're all going to buy a bunch of crypto punks.
It's going to be huge. Gary was right again.
Like 8 of them. And they did pretty good.
And any zingers? Any like real special ones?
I had some that like, whatever, 20, 30 X.
You guys, a question. When Gary does that call with all these billionaires and 8 months or a year later, everybody's like, Gary was right again. Yeah. Is it possible that he's right because of the call?
Then I say, is it better Mr. Beast helps people or not? I mean, yeah, it's better. Is it self-serving? Yes. Does he exploit poverty to make himself look good? Yes. Has a lot of his motivation been fame and clout? If you look at how he started, this is obviously yes. Does he probably pay a fair amount of tax versus income? We don't know. Does he not raise awareness about the wider issues he exploits for content? Very rarely, if at all. Is he annoying? To me, yes, his content is for children. And let's not even start on the Mr. Beast copycat, which he inspired, but if you're honest with yourself, you know his style of content can easily inspire worse forms of his gimmick. Made a whole video on this Fidias guy. He's like an evolution of Mr. Beast, but somehow so much worse. So most people's criticisms, which he and his fanboys got so butthurt over, was just, isn't it shitty we have to rely on some YouTuber to fix problems for viral content? Which is completely valid, even if you disagree with what I'm saying. It seems most people can grasp that rich people doing charity work is undemocratic, often used to underpay taxes and to boost their image for wealth, like Bill Gates. But somehow when anyone even wants to discuss this in regards to Beast, you just get a ton of abuse. I will say this about Mr. Beast, it does see me as one of the world's like best PR agencies, or maybe because his content is so geared towards children. Children are just stupid, so they'll just defend anything because they can't really understand the complexities of the world or the nuances of the world. They see someone do what Mr. Beast does, and they just think, good. And if you say anything against him, you must be evil, you must be bad. And like I said, tomorrow I'm going to make a whole video about why I have been right about Mr. Beast, why I don't like him, and why he actually isn't a great guy. But just focusing on this overall topic right here, and people like really attacking people, criticizing him, I don't understand how most of you can't understand, at least on the surface, why people find this a bit gross. Like my original video was why his content is gross and exploitative. It exploits people's situation, whether that be healthcare, whether that be poverty or their need for food, and makes it into viral content. And part of these people getting the surgery, I'm guessing, is they have to agree to appear on this video. So then they are characters in this viral, silly content, and Mr. Beast only addressing the issue on Twitter after he got massive pushback, and then whining like a little baby, asking if he should run for president, and that Twitter is mean about him, I think was just a big mask-off moment for him, because up until that point, he pretty much ignored the criticism. Like, I haven't seen him really ever address any criticism towards him. And then in one video where he got like a little bit of backlash from lefty Twitter, he just shows who he really is, to some degree at least, right? Like, people were trying to argue with me in my tweet that if they were in Mr Beast's position and they were giving away money to causes they truly believed in, and 95% of people were telling them how great they were, they would still be mad that not everyone likes them. But people who have a ton of money and throw it around to make viral content, which does benefit them, no matter how you want to spin it. If you want to be like Mr Beast and pretend like every single video he makes loses him a bunch of money and there's no way to recoup that or anything like that, that's on you for being naive. But I firmly believe even if his average video loses $1 million, it's probably, to a degree, written off in tax, claimed on expenses. If you run a company, you get an insanely reduced tax rate, and you get way more you can claim on expenses. So if Mr Beast wants to run for president one day, he can also release his tax returns, because then we can all have a look if he actually pays his fair share of taxes. And like his tweet said, Twitter apparently says, we want rich people to help people more. No, we don't really. I want billionaires and rich people to pay their taxes more, along with not wanting them to really exist in the first place. But it's no wonder his hero is Elon Musk. He's so brainwashed by the notion that the rich can solve everything. And if only we'd like him more or give him more money and praise and stuff like that, he could do more good things. And it's just so ironic how so many people think his whole channel is literally just like a self-funding charity. This guy's estimated net worth is insane. And like I said, why would a guy who uses all his revenue to do charity work just randomly jump in on a crypto pump and dump with Logan Paul and Gary Vee? Can anyone answer that in the comments? People who literally think every cent this guy makes is put back into his charity work, why would he do that? What, is he just doing crypto pump and dumps to raise money for charity now? You're honestly going to tell me that? Please, people, have a brain, have some critical thinking, and be skeptical of rich people and rich people doing charity work for viral content. Plenty of rich people do charity work behind the scenes which you never see, and you should still be skeptical of that because of the tax implications. A guy who makes his whole revenue, popularity, and clout off this stuff, you should be insanely skeptical of. And as you're going to see in tomorrow's video he put out recently is one of the more tame ones, because there's way more gross stuff. So on a final note, if Mr Beast is going to learn anything from this whole backlash, it is, in theory, there's nothing wrong with what you did. You paid for people's surgery when they couldn't afford it. Isn't that nice? But also, when you start making that into viral content, you have to realize that some people are going to find this gross, either because they feel like you're exploiting them, or either because they feel like the situation is so gross, it shouldn't be made into viral content. But if Mr Beast wants to do this, I would suggest actually raising awareness about the real issue. Why can so many people in the richest country in the world not afford a basic surgery which people can get in a poor country like Cuba, for example? How can people educate themselves? What can people do in their real lives to try and make this change actually happen? He has a massive platform. He could do this, but he wants us all to think he's the solution. Even that narcissistic tweet about should he become president, why would anyone think you should become president? Someone who exploits poverty for content and uses it as a backdrop to your stupid videos that have nothing to do with charity, like the prison one. Anyway, that is it for the video. Honestly, feels really funny to be someone who's criticized Mr Beast way before anyone else, and slowly since the Squid Game video, see more and more people hate on him until he's actually responded and, in my opinion, has made himself look so much worse than he did before. And the other video is coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that, or maybe the next day. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.